Have you ever wondered what would happen if the moon suddenly stopped shining and the whole world fell into darkness? This is the night when something unbelievable happened. Something no one had ever seen before. The stars trembled, the clouds froze, and a strange cold wind swept across the sky. A soft thud echoed in the deepest part of the forest, as if the sky itself had dropped a piece of its heart. And when the bushes parted, someone found the moon lying on the ground, weak, scared, and completely without light. The silence around it felt heavier than the darkness itself, as if the forest was holding its breath. In a small village near that forest lived a brave little girl named Mira, known for her kind heart and curious mind. She was awake that night, looking out her window because she felt something was wrong in the sky. The darkness looked heavier, deeper, almost as if it was missing its guardian. Suddenly, she saw a faint glow flickering between the trees, like a dying candle flame. Without thinking twice, she grabbed her lantern and followed the mysterious light. Her heartbeat quickened with every step as the forest seemed to whisper secrets she could almost understand. As she stepped into the forest, the air felt different, quiet, strange, and full of whispers. Even the crickets had stopped singing, as if they were waiting for something extraordinary to happen. Her footsteps crunched softly on the fallen leaves, and her heartbeat echoed in her ears. She felt scared, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. Finally, she pushed through a thick cluster of branches and gasped at what lay ahead. There, lying between two old trees, was a round silver shape glowing faintly, like a sick firefly. Myra's eyes widened as she realized she was looking at the moon. Yes, the Hi-O moon, broken, cracked, and trembling softly. Its usual bright glow was gone, replaced by a cloudy, dull shimmer that made her heart ache. The moon lifted its dim little face and looked at her with sad, tired eyes. In a soft voice, it whispered, "Please, help me." Mira knelt beside the moon, her heart pounding with shock and wonder. She gently touched its cool surface and felt a shiver run through her hand. The moon sighed with exhaustion, as if every little breath hurt. "What happened to you?" she whispered with concern, unable to hide her worry. The moon blinked slowly and said, "Someone stole my light," Mira gasped, her hand covering her mouth as she tried to understand the impossible. "How can someone steal moonlight?" she asked, her voice trembling. The moon closed its eyes, remembering the frightening moment, and whispered, "A dark shadow passed by, colder than winter and quicker than lightning. It snatched my light and disappeared into the deepest parts of this forest." The moon continued, a trace of sorrow in its voice. Mira felt anger rising inside her because no one had the right to hurt something so beautiful. She looked around the dark forest, determined to help in any way she could. The moon tried to smile, but was too weak to lift its glow. "I cannot rise without my light," it whispered. "If the sun finds the sky empty tomorrow, the world will fall into eternal confusion." Mira stood up firmly and wiped her tears, knowing this was bigger than fear. The world needed the moon, and the moon needed her courage. She took a deep breath, feeling a strange spark of bravery inside her chest. "I will bring your light back," she said with full confidence. The moon's dim face brightened slightly, as if hope touched it for the first time. But the moon warned her that the forest was filled with magic, strange, ancient, and unpredictable. To reclaim the moon's light, she would have to complete 3 powerful tasks, each testing her courage, kindness, and heart. Only a pure soul could succeed, and Mira was that soul. With determination, she nodded and asked, "What must I do?" The moon explained the first task. She needed to collect a glowing crystal from the singing river. That river was enchanted and only revealed itself to those with a true purpose. Its water shimmered like melted diamonds, and its stones sang ancient lullabies that made Mira's heart flutter. She felt nervous, but excited to witness such beauty. And the moon gave her a small piece of its broken glow to guide her through the darkness. Holding the tiny glowing shard, she walked deeper into the forest, guided by soft, magical light. Soon, she heard a distant, melodious humming, like hundreds of tiny voices singing in harmony. The river appeared slowly, shining like liquid moonlight, even in the darkness. Mira stepped closer and saw crystals growing near the water's edge, each glowing with gentle blue light. She reached out and plucked one carefully, feeling its warm energy pulsing softly in her hand. The forest seemed to sigh with relief, as if acknowledging her bravery. The river spirits rose from the water, dancing in swirling shapes made of silver mist. They looked at Mira with shimmering eyes, curious yet kind, their forms glowing faintly in the moonlight shard she carried. One spirit whispered, "Why do you take our crystal?" Mira explained the moon's suffering and how the world needed its light. Hearing her sincerity, the spirits bowed and said, "Go with our blessing, brave child." With the first task completed, Mira hurried back to the moon and placed the crystal beside it. The moon absorbed its glow, gaining a tiny spark of brightness. "That's one," the moon said weakly, though its voice carried a bit more strength than before. Then it told her about the second task. She must borrow a spark from the fire dragon who slept atop Ember Hill. This spark was powerful and dangerous, but essential to restore the moon's strength. Mira walked toward Ember Hill, feeling heat rising even before she reached the peak. Flames flickered in the air like floating lanterns, and the ground glowed faintly beneath her feet. At the top, she saw the enormous fire dragon curled like a burning mountain, its breath crackling with sparks that lit up the night. Mira swallowed her fear and stepped forward, trying to appear brave despite her tiny size. The dragon opened one fiery eye, surprised to see a little girl standing before him. "Why have you come here, little one?" he rumbled, his voice echoing like thunder. Mira explained the moon's tragedy and how the night depended on its recovery. The dragon listened silently, his flame softening as he felt her sincerity. With a gentle huff, he released a small golden spark that floated into Mira's hand like a warm firefly. "Do not drop it," the dragon warned gently, "for this spark holds the strength of courage." Mira nodded, holding it carefully as she descended Ember Hill, careful not to let it extinguish. When she returned, she placed the spark near the moon's heart. A wave of warmth spread across the forest as the moon glowed brighter than before. But still, it was not enough to rise. Finally, the moon revealed the last and hardest task. Mira needed to find the hidden cave of shadows. Inside that cave, the creature who stole the moon's light was waiting, lurking in darkness. This creature thrived on fear and shadows, feeding on lost hopes and whispers. To defeat it, Mira wouldn't need weapons or magic. She would need her courage, the courage only a pure heart could summon. The cave was cold, silent, and almost alive with whispers that seemed to pull her closer. Dark fog curled around the entrance like fingers trying to pull her inside. Mira stepped forward, clutching the shard, the crystal, and the spark tightly in her hands. Suddenly, a dark creature emerged, tall, shadowy, with glowing red eyes that pierced the dim light. It hissed, "Why do you come here, child?" Mira trembled, but her voice stayed steady as she answered, "You stole light that doesn't belong to you?" The creature laughed coldly, its voice echoing off the cave walls, sending chills down her spine. "I feed on fear," it growled, "and your world gives me plenty." Mira took a deep breath, remembering the dragon's words about courage and stepping closer. "You cannot scare me," she said firmly, her eyes shining with determination. Her bravery stunned the creature, making it shrink slightly, as if losing power. She held up the magical items, and the combined glow filled the cave with shimmering light. The creature screamed, unable to endure the brilliance of courage and kindness. It dropped the stolen moonlight, which floated gently into Mira's hands like a glowing pearl. With one final hiss, the creature vanished into harmless dust, leaving the cave silent once more. Mira rushed back to the moon, her heart pounding with excitement and relief. She placed the stolen light into the moon's cracked center. A burst of radiance exploded across the forest, lighting up the sky. The moon slowly rose, glowing brighter than it had in centuries. Looking down at Mira with pride, the stars twinkled joyfully, the trees swayed with relief, and even the river sang louder than before. The world returned to balance as the moon floated gently back to its home in the sky. Mira watched with teary eyes, feeling proud and full of warmth. The moon gave her one final gift, a tiny star that settled in her palm. "Whenever you feel scared," it whispered, "this star will remind you of your courage." Mira walked back home, the magical star glowing softly in her hand. The darkness no longer frightened her because she had faced fears much bigger than night itself. Her village was peaceful, unaware of the adventure she had just survived. But she didn't need anyone to know, because the moon knew, the stars knew, and they knew that was enough for her. And from that day on, whenever the moon shone extra bright, Mira would smile, knowing she had helped restore its light. Her courage became a secret legend, whispered only in the wind. Every child who looked at the sky wondered why the moon felt so warm and comforting. Maybe, just maybe, it was thanking Mira again and again. If you enjoyed this magical story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more heart-touching adventures. The night was safe again, the moon was whole, and Myra's bravery would live in the stars forever.